I'm sure he probably would be a good bull rider because he would never get bucked off and I would win the national championship. But nevertheless, like he said, he loves to compete. He's a good boy, so I'm really, really proud of him. So, real quick about the game, after you go back and look at the film, and you start to see there's a lot of things that still has to be improved upon, as well as I think we played in some areas. I thought in a lot of areas we still did not look near to where we're going to have to be as we get into Sun Belt play this coming week. I thought our red zone was somewhat poor offensively. When you look at the field position that the defense gave us, really we should have came away with even more points. Not many times in college football where you see an offensive team get the ball handed to them, I think 4 or 5 times inside the 35 in one half alone. And so we've got to come away with touchdowns, not field goals. And the 4 field goals obviously were nice. That's 12 points, but it should have been, or could have been 28 points if we'd have finished some of those drives. So I thought defensively they did some nice things. Calls 4 turnovers, got the shutout, played a lot of people, and then preserved the shutout. Offensively, it's a little harder probably once you start subbing people in the game, and we did mass sub a lot of people. Hard to, we probably lose a lot of the timing, a lot of the continuity, and that did suffer there in the second half. Kicking game, I thought was one of the best kicking games that we may have had. The soundest, 4 for 4 on long field goals, 4 for 4 extra points, down the punt inside the 20. Kickoff coverage was much better. And I think everybody saw that Brett and Stover's legs were much stronger, and a lot of that had to do with the ball being moved up to the 35 also. You'll see a lot of kickers' legs look a lot stronger on kickoffs this year. But nevertheless, I thought they were much improved. But if we're gonna go over and be ready to play Troy this past week, we'll have to get much better in a lot of areas. But the best thing about it is we can, and we know the things we have to address. We know the things that we're doing pretty good at. So we're going to really focus on the things we have to get better on this week, and in order to be prepared for a very tough Troy game this coming Saturday. So with that, I'll open up for any questions.
After looking at the film, what does Blaine need to do maybe to find a better rhythm, be a little sharper?
If you go back and look at it, to me, everything to do with his feet. I thought his feet, last year I thought he was very relaxed, poised in the pocket, stepped up, slid around, found passing lanes. I thought he rushed out of the pocket a lot of times without even being rushed out, where he could have held his ground, and he even hurt the protection by moving. And so I think the big focus this week is going to be his footwork, settling him down. And first game, excited. He's a very excitable young man, but last year he was very cool and calm in that pocket, and we're going to work on that this week. He'll have to remain in that pocket a little more, and I think he will.
Last week you said that the team you felt was ready for opening the season. Do you feel like your team's ready to open up Sun Belt play this week?
Don't know. We'll find out. And I'll know a little more if we're ready by Friday after Friday's practice. But you know what? I like where we're at with our installation. I like where we're at with our kids physically. I think we're in shape. I thought our kids played hard. I thought in the first half, 40-0 at halftime, and did not turn the ball over. Calls 4 turnovers. The kicking game was sound. I thought it was a very solid first half. But in order to play, a team like Troy, some of the things we did in the first half, like the red zone, where we had to kick a field goal, that would come into play this week if we had to settle for field goals every time in the red zone. So we'll have to do better there. We didn't give up many big plays, but I think we are ahead of where we were at this point last year by leaps and bounds because of the starters back on offense and the starters back in the kicking game. It was really good to get those defensive guys a lot of reps because a lot of guys got to play on both sides of the ball, and that made it look probably a little sloppy, a little bit late in the game. But I think that's going to come into play late in the season. If you start having injuries, you got guys that's going to have to step up. Now those guys have been in a college game, and I think they'll help.
Are there any pros at all to a conference game coming that quick after such a light test?
Well, I think probably everybody would like to have a few more non-conference games before you get into conference play. But just as long as us and Troy are the same, I'm fine with that. Just as long as they hadn't had any more than us. So if they'd had 5 non-conference games and us one, that'd be concerned. But they've only had 1 non-conference game too, and so everything is somewhat of a wash there. So, we're going to dive into it right away this Saturday. That's for sure.
players were saying that Troy has got this one circled because you guys know their coaching staff pretty well from way back. And is there do you guys point at that and go, look, they're revenging, they want revenge from last year?
Well, I'm sure they do. And like I said, Joe Frazier once said the punch that knocks you out is the one you didn't see coming. And I'm sure, that was the case last year. They hadn't had any trouble with us in the past. And they came over and probably wasn't expecting us to play maybe as well as hard as we did, and was able to come away with a hard-fought win against a very good team I thought they had last year. So they'll be well prepared this year, I can guarantee you that. Their offensive coordinator, Kenny Enfield, was my offensive coordinator in North Alabama for 7 years, and so obviously we know each other a little bit, how each other think, and and we've got good friendships with all their coaches, and so I know both sides are wanting to win this one, I can assure you that.
Does that make it harder or easier to game plan because
Sometimes it makes it harder because they may do the same thing as us. You give the other team too much credit for, you outthink yourself, and you say, well, they may think we're going to do that, but you can't outthink ourselves. We got to do what we do, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do what we do. We're not going to reinvent the wheel this week by any stretch of imagination. We're just going to get better at what we do, execute at a lot higher level than we did this past week, and then hopefully just improve as a team. And then with some guys back this week like TJ Worthy, and some guys, hopefully that will help us even a little bit more. So it'll be a great game. It'll be a great environment. I know they're expecting a huge crowd. First home game for them, brand new turf, from what I understand. So it'll be a big time college atmosphere.
You talked about your team's depth in the past. You played 66 guys, but only 2 true freshmen. Can you talk about what that tells you about your team as far as having more depth this year?
But now that was one of the concerns. Last year, we were just trying to find able bodies to put on the kickoff team sometimes. And just to give you an idea, if you go back and look at last year, Andrew Hebert, who plays tight end now for us, was starting inside linebacker against Middle Tennessee State. And so, the guys that we just had to move around, offensive guys going to defense, defensive guys going to offense, just trying to get able bodies on the field at a lot of positions. We were really thin. And now we've got more depth. We are playing some freshmen, and we think some freshmen are going to even improve. We thought Tyron Alexander played extremely well, considering he missed 3 weeks at camp, with a sprained knee. But now, since he's back 100%, I anticipate him getting even a little more playing time.
What'd you think about Terrence Broadway? He got a couple snaps. What's your assessment of his in-game play?
You know what? I thought he played really well. Matter of fact, I think he was something like 9 or 12. I thought he was pretty sharp. His first game experience in 2 years, and so I'm sure he was a little bit nervous, but I thought he executed well. He made a couple of nice calls, checks, got us in the right plays, and he's going to be ready if we need him. He's a kid that prepares like he's the starter, and which we try to get all our players to do that. And I think if needed, he'll be ready to step in if needed again, and we want to get him in the game a little more too.
Coach, with all those new faces on defense, you would think that these guys would be thinking a lot, but it looked like they were just flying around out there. That's something you like to see out of a defensive group.
No doubt, and that's the main thing. If you get your kids to play hard, hard work, or kids playing hard, a lot of times covers up mistakes. If somebody doesn't take the right gap, but 11 guys are really playing hard, you can cover up mistakes in that way sometimes. But this week we'll have to take our gap and play hard. But nevertheless, I think we're making progress there.
How'd you assess Quinn's play? His first really full off season. It seemed he led the team in tackles. It seemed like he made a good transition.
He did. I thought he got a little bit tired in the kicking game, and I was a little bit disappointed in that when he went back and watched the film. Defensively, I thought he played really well. But on kickoff coverage, he's got to play with that same tenacity that he does on the field defensively. We'll rest him on defense. We're not going to rest him on special teams. And but I thought he had a really good first game. You can tell he is very instinctive player, and seems to be always around the ball.
Your deep running back core took a hit with the loss of Montrell. What do you do to try to overcome that? Well,
Greg Stewart thought the first thing we was going to do this morning was come in and tell him we was moving Quinn Griffin back to running back. But we assured him that he was safe. Right now, we're going to try to find a third between Torrey Pierce, Yobus Walker, Marcus Jackson, and this week we'll sort of see how that plays out between those three guys to get the number 3 reps in practice. We'll always travel 4 backs, and to be honest, we'll probably travel all 5 because Marcus Jackson is on a lot of the special teams. And so all those guys will be available. Yobus Walker's on a lot of the special teams. And then Torrey had a really good spring practice. And so it'll come down to who can take care of the ball, who can learn their assignments, be able to pass, protect when needed, and we'll see who that's going to be. But luckily, we do have some depth there.
Is there a certain style that you're looking, that you'd hope that could replace, or is not really the kind of runner that?
No, and one thing, Montrell did give you a little outside speed, perimeter a little bit, but I'm looking for a back that can move the sticks with his God-given ability, whether it's running over somebody, running around somebody. However he gets it done, I'm just looking for a productive running back in our system. And Efren and Alonzo are somewhat a little bit different. Efren's got a lot of lateral movement. Alonzo is going to slam it up in the gap and break a tackle. And so they complement each other well.
Coach, I thought Ephraim showed some things out there. I know you guys probably weren't too happy about the turnover, but he showed a little burst coming out between the tackles, and thought he gave you guys the little extra that you needed.
Efren, I thought, played really well and take away the turnover he had. He led the team, led all the running backs in yards per carry. And so I thought he had some nice runs. You got to take care of the ball. I don't care how many yards you get. If you can't take care of the ball, you can't play for us. But he's a kid that has not had that problem in practice, and I think he'll get that corrected this week. He understands the importance of that. That's our goal, to lead the country in turnover margin. If you look at last year, I saw a stat this morning. Out of the 49 Division I games played this weekend on Saturday, 45 of the 49 teams that won the turnover battle won the game. And so I just thought that was an unbelievable stat.
On the D line, you said you're probably comfortable with around 6 or so. So behind those top 3, who are the ones that you really trust the most? Would be McCray and Ringo and who else? McCray,
Ringo. Those 6 are going to rotate. And to be honest with you, we may have to decide each week who's going to start. Those 6 we feel good about no matter who's on the field. We would like to get Darrell Green, maybe Jalen Fields on the field at some point and let them show what they can do. They've got to get back out and practice and earn that spot though, because they have not practiced very much, and Jalen has not practiced at all except for Sunday night. So he's got to earn his playing time, and so hopefully he can earn some this week, and we'll see how it goes for Saturday. But I think he's a very talented young man. Hopefully we can find out what he can do once he can get on the field for a little bit.
What you think overall about the play of your safeties?
You know what? I was well pleased. And coming in, of all the question marks on the team, by far, that was well documented. 2 new starters back there, and I thought Tig Barksdale had some really big hits, came downhill, was very physical, and then Rodney Gillis in his first start, gets an interception and a fumble recovery by being in the right place. And as a safety, if you can be in the right place, that's half the battle. And then I thought he was in the right place all night and got us lined up. With all the shifts and motions, was able to get lined up and get, quarterback the defense. So I think T-Pat came in and played well. And then, this week with T.J. Worthy coming back just really adds to that. And he's really had probably one of the best camps of anybody at safety. So that's just going to add to the depth there and really add to the confidence level that we have. But I think they're way more confident now coming into week 2.
Coaches, I thought Alonzo showed a little bit more of a burst off the edge too. Is that more of a factor of him not having to carry more of the load this year, or you just feel maybe he's gotten a little stronger and it's up to speed?
Yeah, a little stronger runner than maybe last year. He's put on some weight, a lot stronger, and when he turned the corner on that right sideline down the bench, on the play they got called back from
touchdown.
He really turned on the Jets. That was an impressive run, and that's what he can do for us. And if he can break the line of scrimmage, he's going to have a chance to take it to the house. And so he can break tackles, and there's a reason he was Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year.
What do you think about the crowd? Since it was 40-0 at halftime, the rain started picking back up. Majority of the crowd stuck it out. What do you attribute that to?
To great fans, great student body, no question about it. There's not a team in the Sun Belt that comes close. And a lot of people brag, but I'm going to be honest with you, our fans and our student body sort of walk the walk. When you turn on our film of our home games, you can see the stands in the background. You don't see anybody else with that type of support. And I tell you, I was just blown away by our student body, by our fans, and to be raining just about the whole game and rain all the way up to kickoff. See that many people brave the weather. It was unbelievable. I know our players have really appreciated it, and you know, our players understand the importance of playing hard at Cajun Field, and they're going to do that, and they're going to do that because of the dedication that our fans and our student body shown, without a doubt.
Coach, how would you describe Ben Duhon as a student athlete and a football player?
Ben's to me is a kid that is atypical, which is, I say atypical, really, overachiever. He's a kid that, you know, that does everything you ask him to do, does it to the best of his ability, on and off the field. His name never comes across your desk for any issue. He's at practice every day, working hard, and been real pleased with his attitude and his effort, and he understands his role. He understands his role on the team. He's on the punt team, and he understands his role as, you know, as a backup defensive lineman if needed. And that's what I love about the kids that understand their role and they're willing to do anything that it takes to help the team, and not always thinking that they're not being treated fairly because they're not starting. You know, so that's the thing I appreciate about Ben.
Coach, were y'all able to look at a little bit of that Troy's film UAB and looked at what maybe they ran and that looked a little different from last year, or did they play it kind of conservatively by the book?
No, a little bit. You know, I would think they probably had to. You know, I don't think they could have held a lot back against UAB.
It's a rival game.
Yeah, that's a rival game. That's a recruiting game. You know, that's a game that they feel like they need to win. So I don't know how much they may have held back, but I know this: they're different on defense. They're a little bit different on the defense side of the football. Offensively, somewhat the same. I'm sure they've got a few wrinkles they still have not pulled out, and I know Coach Enfield will have a plan, and he'll give us something we hadn't seen. So we're trying to be ready for anything that he may give us. So, but overall, they're very sound. Coach Blakeney does an unbelievable job, and their staff does a good job. They've got good players.
So what did you hold back?
Was that?
What did you hold back?
Oh, we didn't hold back anything.
You talked about Troy looking the same a lot offensively, but they only threw it 22 times against UAB. Did that kind of surprise you?
You know, one of the reasons if you watch the film, UAB couldn't stop the run, and it was a track meet. They was running up and down the field on them, and so why throw the ball if you can just hand it and get 8 yards, 12 yards, 6 yards? So they were very effective running the ball. I think they rushed for over 200 yards against UAB, and so that probably had a lot to do with the number of passes they threw. The running game was working so well for them.
Coach,
Last year, they threw the ball like 55 times against you guys. You expect them to throw the ball a little more on Saturday?
Do I expect what to say it again?
Do you expect them to throw a little bit more? Just throw the ball?
You know, I think they're a lot like us. If the run game's working, hey, we're gonna run the football. If they're giving us a pass, we may throw it a lot. You know, you want to try to mix it up and be somewhat balanced, but in certain games, based on personnel, based on who has the hot hand, based on if a team is good against the run or the pass, depends on really what you may end up leaning towards. But we want to be very balanced, especially on first down. But I will say this: they probably won't throw it a little more than they did. Their quarterback, Corey Robinson, is very talented, and you let him get in a rhythm, he can really hurt you. And I understand he's going to catch passes in this. He's going to complete passes in this game. He can complete a lot of passes. But the thing we can't do is let him complete any long passes. We got to keep him in front, rally up, and that's what we did last year. If you go back and look last year, we did not let them behind us, and that was the key to the game defensively.
Coach, you talk about winning at home, and Troy's been great winning at home over the last decade. Is there anything unique about them that?
I've got a stat this morning. I'm going to talk to the team about it. I think Troy's won 24 consecutive home openers, and we have not won a road opener since 1990. And so, if my statistician, one of my graduate assistants, if he is true to his word, at least that's the stat that I was given this morning. Did not know that. So if that is the case, I'm going to confirm that with Brian later on today. That's a little bit of, hopefully a little motivation for us.
I think it's since 1988 or 87.
Somewhere. It's been a while. And so, it'll be a huge challenge. Winning on the road in college football is awfully hard. And you just look week in and week out. It is tough. And so we're going to hopefully have a great week of practice, and we'll be ready to play. Our kids are going to be excited about this. They like playing Troy, and I'm sure Troy likes playing us. And so it'll be a great college football game, two good football teams.
Defensively as a unit, y'all seem much faster. And a prime example would be like a Delvin Jones. Can y'all attribute maybe to be able to expand the defensive scheme a little more now that y'all have that athleticism, maybe that y'all didn't have quite as much of last year?
Well, we have done that over the course of the summer, just because of some new personnel and some things that we did last year that we felt like we needed to address, and some issues and some things we gave up. So we have addressed that, and so we think more depth and upgrading in a few positions hopefully is going to help us too.
Coach, that stat you were talking about, Coach Blakeney's had 21 and 0 in home openers, and the Trojans have won 25 consecutive home openers.
How about that? Yeah, that's the reason Coach Blakeney's been so successful. 21 straight home openers for him. Wow, 21 and 0. Yeah, so I need to break this press conference right now and get back to work. Really quick. All right, guys, thanks a lot, okay? See y'all Saturday. Thank you.